Going to call to order this continued meeting from Wednesday. This is the Monroe County Board of Commissioners continued meeting from Wednesday, October 7th. Today's October 9th. Commissioner Jones, if you would go through the addendum to our agenda and offer a motion on item 1, please.
Move to approve an agreement for the operation of a COVID-19 testing center in Monroe County, Indiana. Fund name to be established in the amount of $4,057,940.90.
Second.
Right, we have a motion and we have a second. We'll turn to Mr. Cockrell first, and then we'll hear from Ms. Caudle.
Let me start my video. Yes, this is the agreement for the operations of the COVID testing center. Essentially, this agreement outlines who's going to pay for the cost, as well as it includes as an Exhibit A the budget for that. We have secured $200,000 in grant funding from the state of Indiana. Our local partners, IU Health and the city of Bloomington, have each. Our IU Health has given in-kind use and benefits of approximately $100,000, and Indiana University and the city of Bloomington have each pledged $100,000 towards the operational costs associated with this testing site. So that is the agreement. It outlines those items in a little bit more detail, but that's the general idea behind it.
Great, thank you so much. Ms. Caudle.
Good morning. Well, this is exciting news. So we are excited to be able to offer the community a COVID testing site that will run through June. And as Mr. Cockrell said, we are receiving some grant funds. As I see them as seed money, because the funding in the grant was not enough to operate it through that period of time, and just very thrilled of the community support and of our partners, certainly of you commissioners for just stepping up right away to say, let's do this, and then for our community partners to step in to make sure that it happens. So we're very excited. We're still working out some of the details. So specifics about hours and exactly where and when and registration and all of that will be to come. But these are the first steps for getting that next phase going.
All right, thank you so much. Comments or questions for either Mr. Cockrell or Ms. Caudle? Commissioner Jones?
I'm just so pleased to see this happening at last. I know it's been a lot of work for the people who have been putting it together, and it's going to be something really important for the community. So happy to see it happening.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Githens?
Oh, I'm just very, very excited. I'm like Commissioner Jones. We know all that's been going on in the background to make this happen, and wow, thank you to your staff, Ms. Caudle. I mean, it's pretty amazing, and the hospital people have been marvelous to work with.
Yes. Christina Kemp, our public health emergency coordinator, has put in endless hours in this, and Leslie and the folks at the hospital have as well. So we are very, very thankful. Like I said, for all the partnerships, but Leslie and Christina have especially put in many, many hours on this.
They have. I'm glad that they've both been recognized. And yeah, this is a great example of community collaboration to benefit everyone in our community. This is something that will be helpful for everyone. It's the amount of work, it's the proverbial duck on the water, and you see the smooth on the surface, but underneath the legs have been active. And there's been a great deal of work that's gone into this, and I'm really proud of everyone who's contributing and working on this project. And I know there's more work to come, but so please extend our thanks to everyone in your department and the health board as well. So amazing work, and can't neglect to say how much work has gone on from the legal side as well from the county.
Yes.
So many thanks, Mr. Cockrell, Ms. Rice, both of whom have dedicated a lot of hours to this. And of course, Ms. Purdy's also been involved very heavily in organizing the budget and getting some things together. So
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned all of them. I was going to add them as well. Absolutely.
didn't mean to step on your toes.
No.
Yep, it's really it's going to be great, and really excited to see what the future brings. So let's go ahead and see if there's any public comment on this particular item.
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you. And with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement for the operation of a COVID-19 testing center in Monroe County, Indiana?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move approval of ratification of the testing site grant from the state of Indiana, fund name to be established in the amount of $200,000 to be received.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Cottle?
Yes, so we have actually listed the names. The grant award is coming in 2 different CFDA numbers. So one will be CARES Act Relief Fund, and one is epidemiology capacity. So those 2 funds will kind of come together and total this $200,000 grant from the state. And the grant will also include some of the supplies and the operating things that we need for the testing site. So they will supply the tests, the swabs, and the courier services, and all those kinds of things that go into it. So the cash amount is $200,000, but certainly there's more than that in terms of services.
Excellent. Thank you. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No?
Commissioner Githens?
No, it's sort of going to be very similar though to the testing from Optum, right? In terms of scheduling and stuff has to
Yes.
go to Indianapolis for the lab work and things like that, right?
Yes, absolutely. The state has contracted with the Optum sites on a month-to-month basis. So currently the Optum site is here at least through October. And they have those sites all across the state. We haven't heard at what point they'll start closing some of them. My understanding is they'll keep some of them open. So we'll get information on those from the state, but it will operate very similarly to those Optum sites. So there will be an online registration. And again, more about that will come in terms of when times are available. We anticipate seeing about 200 people a day at the testing site. So yes, it will be very, very similar.
Excellent. Yes, and that's why the state has offered this grant funding. They're trying to supplant their Optum sites, and but fortunately, we've had the community come together to pay for the remainder of what will be due to run something through the end of June of 2021. Excellent. With that, let's see if there's any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. And with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the ratification of the testing site grant award from the state of Indiana?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
And the last item, Commissioner Jones, please.
Move to approve a lease agreement with Indiana University Health, Bloomington, Inc. Fund name to be established in the amount of $3,188.50.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. So that's the monthly charge. So there's a total, and then there's also an additional $10,000 toward an accessibility ramp that's included. Mr. Cockrell, did you want to speak about this first?
Yeah, this is the lease property from IU Health. I think as we discussed the first item on the agreement on the agenda today, we talked about in-kind benefits. Clearly, this is a well below market rate lease for that premises. And they are letting us use, for the non-medical waste, their trash facilities and things like that. This is the location where we want to have this program. And we'd like to get in there as soon as we can to make any adjustments that are necessary to the space. Again, if you've been to the Optum site or if you know about it, there's not a lot of equipment or things in there, but there has to be a lot of thought and organization on how people enter and leave the facility. So this lease would begin, I believe, on the 12th, which would give us time to do those things and make sure everything's planned accordingly.
All right, thank you. Let's see, Margie Rice is also part of our call this morning. Ms. Rice, did you have anything you wanted to add about the lease?
No, I think Mr. Cockrell did a nice job on it, and he did most of the work on that lease. I concentrated on the MOU. So I did take a look at it though. I think it looks great. And again, just appreciate the partnership with everyone.
Excellent, thank you so much. Ms. Cottle, did you have anything to add?
No, Mr. Cockrell said everything very, very well. We're again, very amazed at the contribution from the hospital and, not surprised, but, it's one of those things. It was an amazing offer, well below market value. So we're very thankful for that and excited to have a good space.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
I just want to comment that the hospital has been a wonderful partner throughout this entire pandemic. Under the leadership of Brian Shockney, it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, there are two things. First of all, this is more centrally located than the current site. So I find this really pleasing. But also when I read through the lease, I was surprised that there was a reference to electricity for typewriters included in it. So
Never know.
I think they've had that lease a while.
I thought, where did you, well, yeah. I asked my younger son if he knew what a typewriter was, and he just started laughing at me. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is, the IU Health Bloomington Hospital has been such an amazing partner, as Commissioner Jones pointed out from the very beginning. We have worked with them in ways that other communities have not come together. We have really all worked together so well in this community, and I think that's a testament to all of the partners that are part of this entire MOU. But when it came, just to note that when it came time to actually build the ADA ramp for the building, that the construction costs came in much higher, and the hospital has agreed to cover that. That's just another example of their generosity and making sure that our community is protected. So, we've had what were for a time thrice weekly calls, and then they became twice weekly, and now we still meet once a week on the phone. IU Health Bloomington, IU, the city, emergency management, of course, our health department, just to keep an eye on what's going on in the community. And that work's been ongoing since the beginning of the pandemic. And of course, we have our press conference about an hour from now. That's a weekly event as well. So many thanks to everyone, but especially IU Health Bloomington. They've just been absolutely amazing. And It's been an honor to really work with them throughout this pandemic. And with that, let's see if there's any public comment on this item.
There's one hand raised.
Right. Mr. Rollins.
Would you like to use the timer for this or not?
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Can you
Good
hear
morning.
me?
Yes,
morning.
good morning.
I apologize. My internet connection flickered through, so you may have answered this, but can you elaborate a little bit more about the location? I think it's, from what I can see from the packet, it seems to be closer downtown and also close to the rail line and a lot more accessible than the Upton site. Like I said, you may have mentioned it, but I had a screen freeze and so I just want to make sure that I don't miss any commentary on the location of the new site.
Yes, Ms. Cottle, did you want to talk about that?
Sure. Oh, the lights in my
Lights
room
just
are
went out.
automatic. They just went out, right? So there they are. Friday, silly Friday. So yes, it is kind of more off the Beeline Trail. It's downtown where it will be much more accessible, whether it's on foot or by bus or, you know, by vehicle. So that was one of the things that people had expressed to us when we talked to them about site locations. And, you know, early on, we started asking, you know, around, you know, if we had this opportunity, what sites might be available, and spent a lot of time looking and thinking about different places. So that was a lot of what came up. So we are pleased that this will be downtown and much more accessible to people.
Right. It is very important to note that it is not open yet. It is not open on the 12th either. So
Yes.
you have to be pay close attention to information on when the doors will actually open for the public. So we will make sure that that's prominently displayed on our website.
Yes, and you will need an appointment. You know, registration will be online. So again, we'll put all of that. Once we have an opening date, we will make sure all of that information is out and people have the ability to make those appointments.
Absolutely. Great. Anything else? Other questions? Okay. All right.
Looks like we have a question from B Squared Beacon.
Very good. Mr. Askins. Morning. We can't hear you. It looks like you're not muted.
I know.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Hang on one second. I apologize. So back to the location, specifically across the Beeline, this is in the vicinity of the Kroger. I just wanted to confirm that. It's right across from Kroger as best I can tell. Another question, more specific, in the budget page, there's $10,000 for the ADA ramp that's listed under the lease section. And then there's another $10,000 under capital cost under the grant section. And it seemed, since it's there twice, I assume that it's for different things. And I was wondering if you could elaborate on what the $10,000 under the grant section is for. And then one final question, I promise. The materials from the state look like it's $100,000 per site, and we are getting $200,000. So that makes me think we should have two sites as opposed to just one, but we're only talking about one site as far as I know. So if I could get some clarity on that, that would be appreciated. Thanks.
Great. So I'll start with Ms. Cottle.
Sure, and I will start with the site and the amount. The grant awards came out, and originally they were even much lower than this, but it was $100,000 per site with an anticipated 100 person coming through a day. our capacity, we are essentially running 2 clinics out of 1 site. And the state was fine with that. Had we actually had to secure 2 different locations, we still would not have been able to have either site. So they were agreeable when we talked about the number of people we felt we could get through this site and with its location, that was agreeable with the state. So essentially we are running what amounts to 2 clinics out of 1 site.
And yes, on the location, it is right near the downtown Kroger. I don't know, Ms. Rice or Mr. Cockrell, if you want to talk about the other capital item.
Actually could do that.
Okay, Ms. Purdy, thank you.
No problem. That was the need to furnish, if you will, provides some of the screenings, the plexiglass, and just basic equipment that they may need to actually set it up beyond what's being provided by the state, and then also what's being provided by you guys, because I know that we are providing some tables and some chairs. However, it's just built in there to give some flexibility and to ensure that they're able to obtain the items that they need once in there.
Right. Excellent. Is that good for the press? Questions answered?
Thank you.
Sure.
You're welcome.
All right. We've already called the roll on the last item, correct? I'm sorry, I don't have a pen with me, so I haven't made my notes per usual.
We have not called the roll on the lease.
Thank you.
We
Good.
have
All
called it
right.
on the grant and the
Great.
agreement.
Excellent. So with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the lease agreement with IU Health Bloomington, Inc.?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens. You're muted.
Sorry, yes.
Lease is approved 3-0.
Excellent. All right. Everyone, again, thank you all for your hard work. And thanks everyone for joining us today. With that, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Be well.